right? Again, like the Tatsugiri Dodonzo, and you've got the Armouge and DD, like two really great like sort of like pairings that you kind of got like up against. So kind of really have to think like, how are you going to change it up? I know that they were probably talking about, I'm sorry, that is Nate and Brian were probably talking about like the way that this is going on. We for some reason, some people will have their nicknames turned off the nose as well, but no big deal. We'll say some fantastic nickname things that I've been seeing running around here today though. So kind of the same exactly, even on the Tatsugiri form, the one that gives you speed whenever you do manage to get the order ups in. We did see that the Iron Chest was absolutely kind of a monster for Arnie when he was pairing up against this team. So really, like the Dodonzo here, being the Steel Terror type is something that Nate's going to have to kind of, I think, be a little bit more aware of, unlike the Dodonzo, which has Unaware. Arnie's just going to have to be like, okay, well, and if he Terra types into that steel, then Iron Treads has like a really great time here. Even Jugulus actually was kind of having an interesting time. We only really saw the heat wave with it, not much else, but that Mouse Shield actually might just kind of be a big deal here for Nate, because that Frightened Guard, just really nice to have, just to mitigate some of the damage that be coming out from Arnie's side. Arnie has a little bit of a couple of heavy hitters. Whenever you look at an iron bundle, right, you always say, okay, cool, it's fast, it's gonna be faster. The big thing you're gonna have to worry about is the fact that Hydro Pump is a thing. Hydro Pump can miss, Hydro Pump is scary, everyone hates clicking it, and we all, hopefully, I'm speaking for everybody there collectively, we all miss Scald. I will not stop talking about that. Guys, Scald, Burn Chance, like more accuracy than Hydro Pump, you know? Like, genuinely miss it. I cry every single time I have to click Hydro Pump over Scald. Iron Treads though, and Iron Jungle is going to be the lead here of choice for Arnie, bringing us into the future here versus the Mousehold and the Armouge. So no Indeedee matchup here. The Armouge actually really helping out here. Sorry, the Mousehold really helping out the Armouge with that Friend Guard. Again, a little bit of a different set on this Mousehold than most people will probably be used to seeing. Again, Mousehold typically running a more offensive one with Pop Bomb and Wyland's Technician, so Pop Bomb being Population Bomb here. But Friend Guard actually mitigating some of the damage next to its counterparts, I think by about 15 to 25%. I'd have to double check the numbers on that one. But Mousehold here, again, way more supportive than any Mousehold that you probably are used to seeing here. And it's one of those, like, follow me, Encore, protects. Actually, it's super Fang. So really great to just knock things down to half health. But we are going to start out the gate with a Terrastalize here. Terra grab from that Armouge. Gonna make sure that it rewrites some of that super effectiveness, because, hey, Earthquake, not a fun thing to see here. As Mousehold actually goes for a follow me, gonna draw the attention to itself. It wants all the attention here. As Iron Jungle is going for the Air Slash, going into that Mousehold. Doesn't have to worry about the flinch chant here this time. Will lose some of the HP thanks to that Life Orb here, as Iron Treads is like, hey, doesn't matter about the follow me, doesn't matter about my partner, I've got an Earthquake and I'm going to use it. So Mousehold is going to go down this turn, thanks to both that Terra typing and that Friend Guard though. Is going to make sure that that Armouge is going to be able, it doesn't have as much to fear. Trick Room here from that Armouge is going to be set up, so perfect scenario for it, as now the counterpart that Armouge actually is used to seeing, most likely going to come into play here and going to bring in that terrain. If not, the Iron Hands also is a great way to pivot. Is a little bit faster than you would probably want in a Trick Room setup though. Does have to be kind of careful, because Dazzling Gleam is really the only big thing that you have to like worry about here. We've seen before, at least with Brian playing the scene, that the Belly Drum was able to happen, just no punches were able to just pop off here, right? Belly Drum, fantastic in sacrificing your HP and getting back, maximizing your attack, but still a little rough. So now here, we are going to have Indeedee hit the field, will bring in that terrain with its switch in, is going to activate that Psychic Surge, so Psychic Trade going to hit here. It is going to also consume its Seed, so it will have that special defense kind of knocked up a little bit. Armouge, though, more importantly, is going to be able to hit both Pokemon with Expanding Force. Won't have the protection that Mousehold offered it with that Friend Guard, though. So, still kind of aggressive from Arnie, but with Trick Room up, Nate is kind of in the driver's seat here with both of his Pokemon probably being the fastest. Indeedee could probably go for some damage here, could just help out the Armouge, because it will be on terrain, will have the access to Expanding Force. We'll also still have access to the same type attack bonus because of the way that Terra works. Such an interesting sort of mechanic, and we'll actually still have access to Iron Cannon, Fire Cannon, Flash Cannon, not Flash Cannon, sorry. It has been a very long day. It will still have kind of like access to its armor cannon. But follow me here from Indeedee, as Armored indeed does go for that armor cannon into that Iron Treads, is enough to pick up the knockout here. So what once was a roaring menace of a Pokemon is going to get knocked out this turn. No more Earthquakes, no more having to worry about that. The only earthquakes you'll have to worry about right now for the rest of this match are the ones that you might feel in SoCal, as Air Slash actually here from Arnie is going to go back into that Indeedee, which did go for the Follow Me. So right now your speed tiers are looking like, oh nope, it's going to be that Amoonguss actually. So Amoonguss is going to be the faster one here. Amoonguss loves Trick Room, and gonna have to be really careful. I don't think it's Armored. Oh, Armored could hit it with the Expanding Force, so you know you do have a chance to do so right here. But you do have to be careful because the Amoonguss is still going to be the faster one here, and then Amoonguss actually still also has access to Spore, everybody's favorite move on Amoonguss. Love that. Actually, kind of real quick pin on the Amoonguss thing. Armored does have a couple of things it could do. You could hit both Pokemon, you could just go focus down on the armor cannon here. You do knock down yourself a stage of each of attack and of defense and special defense every single time. So there's something you have to keep in mind here. Right now, I'm going to see the Amoonguss actually go for it. Terra typing is going to be Terra Water. So a really fantastic defensive typing here for that Amoonguss is going to make sure that, hey, Armor Cannon, not going to do as much here. Amoonguss actually going for the Rage Powder here does have higher priority thanks to the fact that it is the slowest one here. Indeedee actually going to just meet that with the Follow Me. So Iron Jugulis is going to attack Indeedee, and Armor is going to attack the Amoonguss. So Armor is actually going for the... Oh, sorry. It won't, because it is a Grass type, so it does ignore the Rage Powder, thanks to that. Grass type Pokemon, or grass types in general, will ignore things like Rage Powder because it is a grass move. It's like that they can't be put to sleep with Sleep Powder. So Iron Juggler is actually going to get knocked out this turn. Arnie actually probably could have taken that turn to go for something like Pollen Puff or Spore here, but Iron Bundle, not the best moment for it to really come into the field because Trick Room is still up. That Iron Bundle, its speed is great in most cases, not in this case, unfortunately. It is going to be the slowest Pokemon on the field, leaving it open to being attacked by the Armored one more time. Trick Room is going to expire soon though, but Amoonguss, you know, not really that much big of a threat as long as you can get rid of the Iron Bundle. So really, it's interesting because both of these Pokemon kind of feel like supportive Pokemon more than anything else, especially the Amoonguss. Iron Bundle, kind of a toss-up, I guess, just because, you know, does have access to Hydro Pump. It is able to at least have some more attacking moves, but overall, I don't kind of consider it something that you could just attack with. It is going to go for a Protect this turn, going to burn out one more turn of Trick Room here, as Amoonguss finally going for that Pollen Puff is going to do super effective damage to the Armourouge. Armourouge does go down on this turn, so unfortunately, so it will just say bye, but it did its job. It took down two Pokemon with it before it got knocked out here. Dazzling Gleam from Indeedee, not going to connect with that bundle because it is behind the Protect, but will connect with that Amoonguss. Does very, very little damage. And now Iron Hands is going to hit the field here, so another Paradox Pokemon. Actually, one of the more popular ones, like I've touched on before, just I think the one that I've seen the most so far today. But Iron Hands actually an interesting spot because actually aren't in a terrible spot to go for a Belly Drum, right? You still have the Indeedee who's able to go for something like a Follow Me, maybe you could try to get some more damage done, but Indeedee is actually still in a pretty good spot where it does have the boost from the Seed, so that it has that +1 in special defense, and it's kind of free to let the Iron Hands go for a Belly Drum. But yeah, Indeed becomes the center of attention here. I'm just going for the Spore, going to put it to sleep on this turn, so not going to be able to do that same exact thing next turn, so I'm going to have to watch out for the fact that Amoonguss has done that. Iron Hands going for the Belly Drum is going to cut its HP in half. It's going to get max attack here, but we'll get back some of that HP thanks to that Citrus Berry that it is holding. So now Iron Bundle going to have to attack into that Indeedee. So Iron Hands actually back up in the green. And Iron Bundle, hey, able to connect the Hydro Pump, but that Indeedee special defense getting pretty high up. Fantastic for it now, you know, still sitting really nicely there with a good chunk of its HP left. Indeedee has not taken its necessary sleep turn, so we'll have to take one now. And Iron Hands has to get rid of this, or else it's going to be put to sleep as well. And that's like the biggest problem here is it doesn't matter how high your attack is, because if you cannot move with your Pokemon, you're just in a world of trouble. And I think if you're kind of looking at that, you really have to really decide, like, I need to get rid of this. I need to make sure that, like, this is not happening. So there's Indeedee's necessary sleep turn was going for a Follow Me. Rage Powder from Amoonguss, actually. Interesting choice here for Arnie is going for that as Hydro Pump connects into the Iron Hands. Does a considerable amount of damage here. Drain Punch though from the Iron Hands, able to knock out the Amoonguss. And is going to recover a ton of HP back. It is going to be back in that green. And we also know that Drain Punch is going to super Drain Punch or Thunder Punch will do super effective damage into the Iron Bundle. So really just kind of a Nate's game to win right now. It doesn't actually, I don't think it matters much if the Nate wakes up here. The only problem is I don't know if a critical hit Hydro Pump will knock out. Oh, there you go. Won't even matter at this point. Indeedee going for Follow Me here. It does stay asleep here, so I'm gonna have to worry about that Iron Bundle finally missing a Hydro. Oh, actually goes for the Hydro Pump into that protected spot, so still hasn't missed one. It's pretty good odds so far that the next one will miss. I know that's not how odds work, but it's fine. Indeedee still staying asleep here, unable to go for the Follow Me. Iron Bundle gonna be the fastest Pokemon still here, so it's gonna connect with the Hydro Pump. Still do a lot of damage before. Oh, okay, the critical hit was not enough, but it was close. That critical hit was close. So that's all Arnie could have hoped for, right? Was like you needed the critical hit because then you can take care of Indeedee on your own. Iron Bundle though does fade to that Drain Punch, leaving Nate the victory for game 1. Really interestingly played there. Obviously completely slipped my mind that unfortunately the Rage Powder wouldn't work on the Armarouge because of the Grass Terra typing. So Nate taking full advantage of that and just going straight for the Jugulus. You know, Nate not even actually really bringing the Tatsugiri to Dunzo. The whole core of like the mash hold kind of supporting the rest of the Pokemon there. But really great that Friend Guard, just really nice to sort of negate the damage from other Pokemon. Indeedee just absolutely fantastic in terms of, hey, Follow Me as just really great in that moment. And then getting the extra boost because of the Psychic Seed is really nice for it as well. Especially against a bunch of Pokemon that seem to be special attackers on Arnie's side. Iron Tread's really the only one that's not as much. I mean, there is a low kicks as well, which we haven't seen. Excuse me, which I know is like the favorite of Arnie's from this generation. Every single one of us has one. Every single one of us has a favorite. Excuse me, one sec. All right. So I mean, going into it, game 2, right? I don't know like you really change much as a move because you still do a very good job here, right? You're able to just sort of like I don't know, like you were able to set up Trick Room safely, able to just kind of capitalize on all your turns. Like I don't consider a single turn of his Trick Room turns kind of weak, right? There was always like something he was able to do there. You were able to set up Belly Drum, you were able to like get your HP back. Amoonguss went down from one hit from you, which was fantastic and all you do. So there's not much you really have to change, but if you know if you think your opponent's thinking that, then change something. And actually, ooh, interesting here. Yeah, so Arnie, you know, maybe a little bit of change too. I mean, Iron Treads honestly just puts in a lot more work than I think he's expecting, or that most people are expecting to be happening. And so now you're kind of looking at this game too. There's a little bit of a change that we saw that that kind of walked into, and so now it's a matter of how is it gonna pan out for him. So Iron Jugulus and Iron Treads. Hey, you know what? Arnie liked it last time. He's gonna stick with it here. Milestone and Armored also the same lead of choice. So we've got basically the same thing that happened in one. So, honestly, the Iron Tread is actually kind of like a scary Pokemon to really deal with, especially when you consider the fact that even with the defensive typing, Armarouge is still, like, you know, not as big of a threat to the Treads as as it could be in that moment. So I think, honestly, like, Treads, you're just fine with clicking Earthquake again, right? You're not really punished for it because Jugulus is not gonna get hit by it. You want to set up Trick Room again just in case there's an Iron Bundle in the back, but even then, like, your game plan has changed a little bit. So setting up Trick Room is actually a very interesting place here. But Nate's gonna start us off with another Terrastalize here. Is gonna go for the Terra Grass into the Armarouge. Is gonna make sure that, hey, You know what? Don't have to worry about any Legacy back. Don't have to worry about Spore. Don't have to worry about any of that going on at all. Mouse actually going for a Protect this turn. Does not want to have to worry about getting hit like it did last time. It did get knocked out in one. Oh, but Dark Pulse from the Jugulus going straight into that Armor Rouge instead. Is going to lose some HP thanks to that Life Orb. And followed up by an Earthquake from the Iron Tread. Not going to hit two of the Pokemon on the field because one is behind the Protect and one is actually floating here. Armors are going to have to take some damage from it, but thanks to that Friend Guard again, really nice. Oof, that Dark Pulse flinch, that is rough. Where there is a flinch, there is a way. Someone is very familiar with this from last time. So, I mean, hey, Dark Pulse does have that chance. I don't think that's what Arnie was going for. It just so happened to be what happened. Really unfortunate though for the Armor Rouge because it was able to, you could have followed up there with Arm Cannon. I think it was going for Arm Cannon into that Jugulus. And that Mouthful now gonna have to put in some extra work to go for it was, you know, would have had to put in some extra work for that, but we are actually going to see a double switch in here for Nate. Dodonzo is going to be coming into the field here in place of that Mouthful, so one white Pokemon for another white Pokemon is Armor Rouge. It's also going to switch out for no surprises here. Tatsugiri. So Tatsugiri, as soon as it hits the field, is going to jump to the mouth of that Dodonzo, and we are going to actually get the Commander going on. So we are going to get a +2 to everything else, and because it is the yellow Tatsugiri, shiny form ignored there, it is going to get that extra speed every single time as well with that order up. So gonna have to really focus out on Dodonzo. Have to be careful about Terra. Oh, you actually can't Terra it anymore. So Iron Jugglers use Air Slash, but Tatsugiri, because it's in the mouth of Dodonzo, avoids it. Earthquake is going to at least get some damage down into that Dodonzo though. I will say, I think this was actually a really nice switch for me. Even though, like, you had to take a turn where the Dodonzo has to take the damage in there, it's really nice because now you're at +2 for everything. You have to force the Treads and the Jugulus to focus down on you no matter what. You are able to at least maybe get some damage down to either of these Pokemon. And if you click order up, right, all you do is you just get the speed advantage for later on up, which kind of is interesting because you did set up Trick Room, if I remember correctly here, but Amogus is going to come out onto the field. Amogus is like, yeah, okay, that's fine. And there's a Dodonzo, I'm not like really that worried about it. Dark Pulse here from Iron Jugulus. Now you're just stressed out and waiting to see if you're going to flinch again. But Dodonzo actually able to break through that potential and is going to order up. Not quite enough to pick up the knockout here on Iron Jugulus, but is able to at least get that speed. A little bit scary here now though, because you are at half health with this Dodonzo. You're kind of in a rough spot, it almost feels like, with all of with how much damage you've been taking. Wave Crash though is going to pick up the knockout here on that Jugulus. Will have to take some recoil damage for its troubles here, so Jugulus going to get knocked out. And now Dodonzo going to get hit by the recoil. Amoongu's going to go for the Pollen Puff though, but it's failing because it did target the Jugulus. And unfortunately, there is nothing there for it to target, as Iron Bundle is now going to come into the field. Iron Bundle is also going to activate that Quark Drive ability, thanks to that booster energy that it was holding, so its speed is going to go way up just a little bit here. You got Dodonzo and this poor Amoongus already it was the slowest thing here, and now all of a sudden you've got two Pokemon who are fighting for speed control like crazy. So Iron Bundle, I think, a little bit more of a threat to Nate than the Amoongus, but Amoongus actually still having access to that Rage Powder is going to be able to draw any sort of attention away. Please try though from that, from the Iron Bundle, not able to pick up the knockout quite so here. Does a lot of damage to the Iron Bundle. It's going to get now +4 stages of speed here, but Spore from that Amoongus, very interesting, is going to force the Dodonzo here to consume that Lumberry that it is holding. A strategy I think a lot of people have been seeing, I think it won Liverpool recently, was that that Sleep Talk Tatsugiri combination, so the Lumberry Dodonzo. So actually really kind of funny sort of mechanic, right? So Dodonzo's still going to wake up. However, the problem with this is Iron Bundle is going to be able to knock it out with just another freeze right here. It is at 4 HP, right? So not really much for it to do yet. There you go, Iron Bundle going for the freeze drive. Dodonzo going to get knocked out here, and a little bit unfortunate for it now. Azumungus is gonna go for the spore, so now it's a matter of what Nate actually clicked into, because he was expecting the spore again. He clicked sleep. We're in a fantastic spot here for him, right? For next. Oh, sorry, forgot that Tatsugiri actually doesn't move until that next turn afterwards. So, now we're actually gonna be in a really interesting spot that Tatsugiri is choice X. So this will be very interesting here. Maushold though gonna take the place of that fall into Dunzo. And we are going to see the Sleep Talk getting locked in for the choice specs. Iron Bundle will move first because, most likely because of the fact that it's scary fast moment. Like I said, if you miss Regieleki, it's staring right there in front of you. Just looks like a Delibird now. Maushold is going for the Protect here on this turn. Going to hide behind that to make sure. Azumungus actually goes for a Rage Powder on this turn. Going to draw the attention to itself right now. Leaving this bundle and this Tatsugiri for itself. Bundle going for that free strike. Oof, able to pick up that knockout on Tatsugiri. That super effective damage. Now you just have the Armarouge, which is gonna really enjoy what it's got to face against. Trying to do super effective. You've got 3 Pokemon that you have to fight against as this Armarouge. Kind of in a rough spot. You're gonna try to set up Trick Room and hope for the best. But you will be moving last. You can't get spored at least, which is really nice in this sort of scenario, because then you don't have to worry about being put to sleep on all of those shenanigans with sleep turn. However, the problem here is that like something like the Iron Bundle is still kind of a big heavy threat. So we are gonna see the Amoonguss go for its defensive Terra typing, so it is gonna be a water Terra type here. Maushold going for the follow me is going to try to make sure that Armarouge is able to set up the trick of this turn, as Rage Powder also is going to be here. Iron Bundle is going to hit into that Maushold with Icy Wind, actually going to hit both of them, so going to lower the speed of both these Pokemon. Not enough to pick up the knockout on Armarouge. I don't think it's going to quite matter though, because Armarouge is still going to have to take on 3 Pokemon, and I think there's only so much Maushold can do after a certain point. So Nate technically has, oh yeah, there you go. We do see the forfeit here from Nate, which means we are going to go to a game 3 for this top 4 between Arnie and Nate. So it'll be very interesting to see how they adjust for that one. I think honestly, like, it's just fortunate that Tatsugiri was getting got knocked out in that moment, and it's kind of rough to see overall, like, when you're playing this, right? I think the Maushold and the Armarouge like pairing is always just really nice to see and like have it happen. Just when it works against you, unfortunately, like that, it's unfortunate to see, like, you double switch and you do your best. I think that flinch it's also just kind of rough to kind of break through, right? Like, it's just not something that like you're really expecting, and then when something like that happens, just like, oh, it's just rough, right? It just hurts you. So I think Arnie doesn't really have a problem bringing the same 4, right? Iron Bundle just has such interesting pressure on all of these Nate's Pokemon, versus the fact that Nate has to really figure out his Iron Bundle matchup, because the Amoonguss actually makes that really tough. I think there's nothing wrong with bringing back the Iron Hands, because I think Iron Hands actually had a really nice matchup in this team, as long as you're able to set it up properly with the whole belly drum and the whole brain punch and the whole sort of thunder punch happening, right? Once that happens, then you're in a prime spot with that Iron Hands. I think for Arnie might like kind of recognize that. It's interesting because like we haven't seen the Glamora come into play, and really like, the big thing about the Glamora is that, hey, things will like get knocked out because of the poison if you're like a team that pivots a lot. So it's kind of like one of those mind game things, and if you're really trying to figure out like what are you gonna bring for this next set, right? Like it's rough. It is definitely one of those things where you're just like, oh, I don't know what I want to see here, and it's just I think you shouldn't sleep on something like the Iron Treads, because I think a lot of people were ignoring it in place of something like the Great Tusk, which, I mean, you know, it's a really good Pokemon, but Arnie's showing, hey, like, you don't have to knock off the future Pokemon as well, right? And so now Jugulis and Tread's going to be the Pokemon lead of choice here. Is going to be is actually just going to be like, oh, just straight up Armarouge and Indeedee here. So Indeedee going to be able to have the special defense boost thanks to that Psychic Seed. Iron Treads and Iron Jugulis, really fantastic lead for Arnie, has been working really well for him, right? Putting on a lot of offensive pressure, right? Follow Me not really doing much because of the fact that, hey, sure you could follow me, but the problem is you're not really protecting much from anything because Earthquake hits everyone. So I think, you could switch into the Mouse Hold here, at least negate a little bit of the damage that Armarouge has. You could use the Terra typing out. Ooh, you really wanted to, but instead, actually, gonna have a little bit of a change here from Nate, actually. So we are gonna see the Terra for the third time in a row. Nate is actually gonna Terra for the first, and he's going for the Indeedee into the Terra type. Is gonna be a Fairy type Terrastalize here. Real cool choice, I guess. Is gonna try to set up Trigger here as Protect from the Armarouge. Is gonna make sure it doesn't get hit by something like sorry, Earthquake. A Dark Pulse though. Hey, Dark Pulse says like whatever, it eats that up all day here. Is gonna lose some HP from that Life Orb. If this flinches, I am gonna feel terrible for Nate right now. But Earthquake here, not going to hit the Armarouge. It's going to hit the Indeedee. It's going to be able to hang on. Does not get flinched. Trick Room is going to happen here, and Nate is now like in control of the speed here. Dazzling Gleam, interestingly enough, would be boosted because of the fact that it is a Terra Fairy. So now what we're going to see is there is going to be a little bit of interesting speed tiers here. Indeedee is actually going to go for a Follow Me just because probably the best thing you can do as an Indeedee here, but you have to really be careful. I think if you're Nate, that Iron Treads is really just kind of a pain to have to deal with, so you really want to get rid of it as soon as possible. One of those Pokemon that you're just like, the longer you leave it on the field, the more annoying it becomes. And so now Jugulis is actually going to be leaving the field for Arnie. We're actually going to see him switch out. It might be that, yep, there we go, that Amoonguss that he's going to bring on the field. Again, Amoonguss just sort of loves Trick Room, right? It's one of those things where like Trick Room is really great for it, and it just kind of thrives in that sort of environment. As now Follow Me from Indeedee going to make sure that at least if the Iron Treads survive, or like, if anything had survived, it would have attacked there, but Tread's going to go down on this turn. Not going to be able to go for another Earthquake, is going to get knocked out here. Interestingly enough, because the Armarouge is not aggress anymore because of that, because the Terra typing has been used by Indeedee, Amoonguss can actually spore it down. Iron Jugulis is going to return to the field. Is going to, have like going to be able to at least try to get some damage down into that Indeedee. Armarouge though, kind of in an interesting spot where it has to watch out for what is going on. I actually really like what Nate might be planning to do here. So unfortunately, because like, he's still taking on time because of Trick Room. If he switches into the Mouse Hold can't get spored. You can Follow Me all day with a Mouse Hold and not have to worry about sport because it's got the safety goggles on. So I think he's kind of really deciding like what he's willing to let go to sleep. So Indeedee goes to sleep or gets knocked out this turn, that's fine, right? If you Follow Me, gets knocked out by Jugulis, which actually Jugulis also still has access to actually you don't want to Heat Wave here, that's right, because of the Flash Fire, but actually Jugulis is going to switch out right now. We are going to see the Iron Bundle instead, so the triple Paradox Pokemon again here for Arnie one more time. Quark Drive from the Iron Bundle going to activate thanks to that booster energy, is going to raise that speed just a little bit more. And we are going to see an actual the Terra type as well here from Arnie. It's going to be that defensive typing for that Amoonguss. It's going to be Terra Water. So Terra Water Amoonguss here, just really nice for it. Doesn't have to worry as much about something like the Armor Cannon from the Armarouge. I really appreciate defensive typings like this. Indeedee going for the Follow Me, however, is going to not really matter much this turn unless it gets hit by its Spore. Yep. So there's a Spore from the Indeedee. Gonna have to be a little bit careful here. So I think next turn you could just kind of go for the protection areas here. Armarouge going for the Expanding Force, gonna hit both Pokemon thanks to the fact that Turn is up. Does so much damage into both of his Pokemon. Iron Bundle showed up only to get knocked out, and Armarouge is gonna lose this much HP, but it's an okay trade for it because hey, at least you don't have to worry about that bundle anymore. Jegulus is finally back, and it's back for good because there is nothing else he can switch out with. Amoonguss in the red here, and now's the perfect time to kind of switch into that Mouthful because, hey, you know what? Mouthful won't get put to sleep in case something like that happens in Armor. You can just protect this turn. So you do have to be careful though, just because the Jegulus would probably have that little bit of speed later on. So very interesting because if he does a double switch in here, the Mousehold into that, sorry, the Armor into that Mousehold spot, right? Then now you're just kind of playing games of what's gonna happen. He does have a little bit. He is now officially on like a 10-second timer to try to figure out what to do. I don't think there's actually anything wrong with double switching here, right? I think it'll be interesting to see what he switches for what. So it'll be the Iron Hands in the spot of the enemy, and if he double switches with the Armor right when Trick Room expires, which the Armor is switching out for that Marshall, that would be fantastic because the Spore from Amoonguss will not put that Mousehold to sleep. That safety goggles prevents that Mousehold, that family from going to bed. It ain't bedtime yet for them for that. And there we go. So a fantastic read there and a really great play from Nate in that moment. Iron Juggler is going to lose some of its HP some more thanks to that Life Orb. So I think this is the last turn of Trick Room. So still in a really good spot though for Nate. Just done a really good job of adjusting for his game 3 and really kind of showing off just how good indeed Armors can be. Mashal going for a Follow Me. Again, Spore won't work for Arnie, so he has to be careful of that. As Amoonguss actually goes for an Energy Ball instead. I'm gonna do some damage into that Mouthful at least. Does get the special defense drop though, so that's kind of nice for him. And Nate able to take out the Amoonguss with a Drain Punch from Iron Hand is gonna get back some of that damage that it had lost thanks to the Air Slash on the switch in. But now it's just this Jegulus versus both of them, and you still have to be careful of clicking something like Heat Wave, which is, you know, one of your few, but I mean, this instance, right, it's totally fine, but I have to be careful because, like, the Armor's in the back. Oh, this poor Mousehold gets burned, but safety goggles can't protect you from everything like that, right? So Mousehold gets burned, Trick Room expires, Jugulus went last, which means Iron Hands will go after Jugulus now. So as long as, well, even the flinches won't really matter. So Mousehold here gonna go for a Follow Me. It's gonna draw the attention of the Jugulus here. Heat Wave though, not gonna care about that. He is gonna get both of those Pokemon. Maybe get another burn into the Iron Hands, who knows? But not quite so here, as Jugulus is gonna lose HP from the Life Orb, and Iron Hands is like, I'm just gonna eat up my berry just to add insult to injury. Here is gonna go back into the green, and it's gonna be able to go for the Thunder Punch, knocking out the Jugulus, giving Nate game, and giving him the set versus Arnie. So that means you will see Nate again. He'll probably just hang out in that chair. I think it's looking like Geo won his match against Alan. So normal Terra Dragonite is the superior Dragonite in this instance for this weekend. So I mean, honestly,